I think one thing that I would really want to say is that the approach that we have to leadership in our community is the best example I can give of this is of a flower, right? You know, if you have like any flower, right? I mean, some guys will consider this a little bit effeminate as a metaphor, but I think it really is the ultimate metaphor because, you know, when you get a flower, right, you can either, you know, it looks really nice, it's got a really nice scent to it and everything, right? It's got a really good quality to it. You can chop the stem off. You can take that flower, you can bring it into your house, and you can do multiple things with it. You can either split it up and, you know, put rose petals on their bed, or you can squeeze it and take the perfume out of it, right? There's all these things that you can do with it, or you can just put it on display and everything. And you get the benefit from that, which is great. But what have you done to the flower? You've wrecked it. You've ruined it, right? Or you can be, you know what, I'm going to water this flower, and whatever I can take from this flower without harming it, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue to let it blossom, and I'm going to continue to let it grow. You can be that waterer and you can be that nurturer. And unfortunately, the approach that we have in the Western world especially, but, you know, whether it's Muslims or non-Muslims, is we have the let's just cut the stem off and let's just extract from it as much as we can, right? And you just suck the whole life out of that flower. That is the modern working world. And the habit and we do this with ourselves as well, right? You'll have seen this all around you, is that even when we're not leading other people, we do the same thing to ourselves. You know this, and forgive me for using this term, but this is the most appropriate term, is this new term, you know, this hustle porn, which is just, you just hustle and you just work all night, and you work on Saturday and you work on Sunday and you work all night long, and what you just, that's like the flower just killing itself and just giving off all of its perfume and then having nothing left. You know, that's the approach that we take. That's not the approach to take. The approach to take is to nurture yourself and then to nurture others. That's leadership.
Very good. Okay, I love that. So it's about nurturing yourself and nurturing others. Okay, excellent. So, like, tell me a little bit about what do you mean when you say nurturing yourself, nurturing others? Because you're right, there is this whole mentality that just work hard, but then at the same time you do have that whole thing that ultimately the leader's the last man standing. He's the one who's always going to give more than everyone else as well. So how do you kind of balance that, and what do you mean by nurturing?
So, you know, the first thing that I would say is that is the term leadership, is our understanding of what leadership actually is. And I want to go back to where I feel that's come from. Leadership, where it used to be considered incredibly important, was in the battlefield. Okay, so military expeditions, and the term that the description, what you're giving to leadership, is perfectly apt for that environment, for that context, right? The leader is the last man standing, because whoever you look at, Khalid bin Walid, you know, the Western leaders, when they want to talk about it, Ertugrul and all these people, you want to talk about these people, they're the people that have the greatest amount of courage, that when everybody else is dying around them, they're still standing and they're still fighting. If there's 1,000 people facing them and the guy's legs being chopped off and his arms being chopped off, he's still got one arm left and he's still going.
Yeah.
So this understanding of what leadership is comes from the military.
Yeah.
And it's romanticized in Hollywood movies and in, you know, Western media. So, and everything is done with military precision. You know, everything is like clockwork, and there's no room for people's feelings and emotions, and you got to be there. And you know when the Transformers come and they're fighting, and you know, it's all. I mean, I just watched Avengers Endgame yesterday, and it's just go. That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's all or nothing, but that doesn't take into the context of the work environment is not like that. There's no big enemy. If you look at all the vernacular, all the terminology, right, the language that's used in the corporate environment is all military language. Okay. Leadership is the last man standing. The competition is the enemy, so you've got to beat the enemy, and you know you've got to be all out, and you've got to get the world. You've got to conquer the world, and you've got to get the world to see who you are. This is all
true,
military language. This whole language is military language, right? But the world that we live in, first of all, the real leaders will tell you, and the people that have become really successful, they will tell you there's no such thing as competition, right? It's a bit of a cliche, it's a bit of a platitude, but it's true. There is your only competition is yourself in terms of how good can you solve the customer's problem, right? The customer is the king. So there is no enemy, there is no battlefield, right? So therefore, you've got to understand the context that we live in. The context that we live in is what everybody does in this day and age is knowledge work. We use you got to see as what we're all doing is creating paintings. So if you want to get people to see your painting, you got to create a better painting, and you've got to be able to touch that customer and go, what is it? But it's also subjective. You can't say to somebody, well, that painting is better than that painting. It's subjective. So our approach is painting, right? So you got to understand the context. Now, in that context, you then the language has to change, and the whole dynamic has to change. In that context, you need to be able to take a rest. You need to be making sure that the people who are doing the painting are at their optimal creativity. When a writer has a writer block, you don't tell them to keep on writing. When a painter has a creative block, you don't go keep painting. You say, all right, go for a walk in the park, go and have a cup of coffee, spend time with your family, just switch off, and then come back. And when you're feeling it, come back and then redo it. That's how you take that approach, right? And there's an ayah in the Quran which I still love to this day. Verily, in the alternation of the night and day are signs for men of understanding, right? Is this thing of separation and gathering, which is you'll see this a lot in the Quran. You see separation and gathering a lot in the Quran, and it's this thing about during the day you have the sun, and then the sun is gathered, and then at night it separates. Or you can look at it as darkness. Darkness is separated, and then at night it gathers, right? And it separates. And the day is for work, and all those errands and working and chores and all those kind of things. And then the night is for rest, and it's for reflection, and it's for dhikr, right? It's for those things. The sky is a canopy, as Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran. The sky is a canopy. It's for rest. So you rest and you reflect, and then you recharge, and you get up in the morning, and then you go for it again. And there's a whole set of secrets and all of that. That your best work is in the morning,